Now, this might possibly be the dumbest thing that I've ever heard Ford ever say, but maybe this is only the beginning and they'll continue to surprise me with more dumb statements. For instance, and I quote, Jim Farley said on Tuesday's earnings call, we learned that as you scale EVs to 5,000 to 7,000 units a month and you move into the early majority customer, they're not willing to pay a significant premium for EVs. Oh, man. Look, I don't mean to completely kick Ford while they're down, but maybe, just maybe, this wouldn't have been so bad if they had better timing, okay? Hear me out. There was a time when every vehicle was selling, okay? It was hot. There was a time where, you could buy pre-owned used cars for more than you could new because you couldn't buy them new. And everybody had FOMO and they wanted what they wanted when they wanted it, no matter how much it cost. While also interest rates were a little bit lower. Tesla, for instance, literally pants down fucked a lot of people who bought in when they bought in, now seeing the same models for thousands less brand new and their valuations plummeting. Virtually worthless. Like, I hope you got Gap and you just completely run that joker into a wall or something to get your money out of it. And speaking of Tesla, came across a young lady today. She says she has a 3-year-old Model S. She has a 3-year-old Model S with 25,000 miles on it, and it has a dead battery. And she's outside of the battery warranty, and the cost for a new battery is astronomical. Not to mention, she said there's no warranty on a new Tesla battery. So I want to double check everything she said. I'm gonna run it back. I'll let you guys know in another video and make sure there's no holes in her story. But Tesla was, they were killing it, and if Ford had at the time their Ford Lightning, which I guess they did have the Mach-E a little bit into that, but if they were ahead of the game, maybe they wouldn't be in the situation they're in right now with the statements that they're making on these earnings calls. But even still, Tesla is coming down on pricing. They're coming down on the manufacturing costs because they have to, because people aren't interested in paying these prices, nor can they. Where I think there was a recent study where, most people don't make $120,000 a year, and to go out and buy a $60, $70, $80, $100,000 EV and then pay the tax to drive it, although there is a tax advantage and tax incentive to purchase a rebate. When I say pay the tax to drive it, I'm talking about the cost of the kilowatt hour, the charging, the cost of your time wasted to do that, the cost of going out of your way to find a charging station, the cost of the tires that ultimately get less mileage out of the tires because they're not specifically designed for an EV. And if they are specifically designed for an EV and they have the foam inside of them, they're going to cost more. EVs are terrible all the way around. And who's got the best EV? Because Tesla's build quality is garbage. So I would have to assume that maybe Rivian would be better. Maybe Lucid would be better. Ford is going to be Ford. I think Ford's build quality is fine. It's Ford. It's not like it's not a Rolls Royce. It's a fucking Ford, okay? So Ford sees new reality for EV sales as costs challenge industry transition. Ford's latest quarterly results out Tuesday were the latest to underscore the challenge facing an auto industry moving towards an electric future. High prices. We learned that as you scale EVs to 5,000 to 7,000 units a month and you move into the early majority customer, they're not willing to pay a significant premium for EVs, Ford CEO Jim Farley said on Tuesday's earnings call. Yeah, that FOMO is over. It's run its course. Unless the Lightning was just like unbelievable and also in limited numbers, which would then entice people to get it because they couldn't. For instance, turn the Ford Lightning into a Stanley Cup and hope a bunch of fucking housewives and single moms want to run out to Target and spend their WIC checks on getting these mugs. Farley added that as subsidies for EV purchases rolled off, pricing for EVs quickly converged to hybrids. Now, Tesla found out this first, but we were right behind that. But we learned very quickly, and I want to say that no one will be immune to this reality. Farley's comments come as Ford reported quarterly results that saw revenues and profits top expectations, while the company forecasted increased losses in its EV-focused unit as it gets more competitive on pricing. Ford shares were up as much as 4% on Wednesday, and the conversation about pricing power, or a lack thereof, from automakers looking to turn their fleet towards EVs continues to be the biggest theme in the industry in 2023. But this article came out in 2024. So I don't know why they reference back to 2023, but I do think that Ford is trying to build a case. Ford is trying to build a case for how they are not going to meet the requirements, nor are they willing to invest the money, despite having received money from the government to make this happen, while also realizing that the consumer is not interested in it, nor are the dealerships, okay? And Ford, I don't think, has the ability to go 100% direct to consumer and it be worthwhile and profitable, which wouldn't even help in the grand scheme of things, because Ford Motor Company would be still SOL. While if they had a specific EV only line, for instance, Model E, then they could have possibly pulled that off. But Ford has a huge mountain to climb, a tough pill to swallow, because they've got to get into compliance or else face the consequences with this Green New Deal. Thanks, Joe. Now, it says here that I just can't emphasize enough how important cost is. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said back in the fall, "We have to make our products more affordable so people can buy them." According to data from Bank of America published last month, of 62 electric vehicle models currently sold in the U.S., only 20 have a starting manufacturer suggested retail price below $45,000. A lack of affordability, limited choice, and range anxiety are likely key reasons for the relatively sluggish mass market EV adoption, the firm wrote. Their findings also show hybrid vehicles are bringing some of the gap to full EV transition, while the choice and availability of EVs should improve from here, end quote. The demand for gasoline-powered vehicles has, in part, prompted energy companies to continue their oil and refined fuels production, while at the same time investing in technologies for the energy transition. Last year, ExxonMobil announced a lithium initiative to become a major provider of the critical metal used to make electric vehicle batteries. Quote, "We see an opportunity to supply approximately 1 million electric vehicles per year by 2030, according to ExxonMobil CEO Darren Woods during the company's earnings call last week. And, quote, "With economically advantaged production, it has a much smaller environmental impact than today's supply," end quote. Look, these folks, they are going to stick it to the manufacturers. The producers of these raw materials needed and required to get the batteries, they're gonna come out like, smelling like roses, just making it rain and bending over these companies who they know they got them by the balls and are begging to buy these resources from them so that they can produce the batteries that they need to produce the vehicles that they have to sell because of these ridiculous government mandates. The transition, at least in the U.S., is also not evenly distributed geographically, creating additional dynamics for the company to work through. In the fourth quarter, for instance, sales of the F-150 truck, Ford's best-selling vehicle, saw a 50-50 mix of hybrid or EV vehicles and internal combustion engine ICE vehicles. In Dallas, Farley said the split in favor of ICE vehicles was more like 85-15, as hybrids will play an increasingly important role in our industry's transition and will be here for the long run, is what Farley told analysts on Tuesday. Ford is also betting that giving customers more choice will be crucial in the transition away from traditional ICE vehicles and towards EVs, both in terms of price and performance. And in closing, All of our EV teams are ruthlessly focused on cost and efficiency in our EV products because the ultimate competition is going to be the affordable Tesla and the Chinese OEMs, according to Farley. I don't know, man. I don't think that you can convince folks to buy a damn Chinese EV if they're not going to buy a Ford, okay? Price, out the window. I mean, it would have to be like half the price. Tesla, on the other hand, it's got a fan base, it's got a recognizable name. It also has its fair share of problems, and it's also built in China too. So maybe we're already halfway there. But I'm gonna tell you right now, for the average American who would prefer a particular build, model, specification with options in a price range that they could afford and would really want to pay, those vehicles don't exist because these manufacturers don't give a shit about anybody but themselves, the higher end affluent clientele, and the government, for which they, have to suck their dicks on a regular basis to get what they want out of the whole thing. But even still, we can see that Ford's not getting that, or at least not yet. Maybe they have a trick up their sleeve. Maybe they're buying their time waiting for Trump to take office and all this could change. I don't know. But I feel very confident in saying that Ford's fucked. When it comes to the Mach-E, when it comes to the F-150 Lightning, nobody wants that shit. Nobody wants that shit. You can go to the dealership right now. They're sitting on the lot. You can go get one. I don't know anybody who would. Somebody commented on a video that they got a used Mach-E for like $20,000, $25,000, which is cool, great for you. But I filled up with gas today, 93 octane, premium. I'm looking forward to continuously filling up with fuel, gas for the foreseeable future. And you guys let me know how that EV thing works out for you, okay?